My father, who was very successful he was a very successful urban pharmaceutical engineer. That's what we'll call it. And my father was very successful by appearance. He had back then it was the what was it, the Mark IV Continental car, the whole nine, white walls,
Yep.
tires, the whole nine. And he got himself, and this is things he talks about and shares with people. He's actually done a book. It got to the point where he decided to rob a bank, and he made the front page of the Daily News and whatever the other big paper was in New York. My mother, right off the bat, was humiliated, thinking that this was embarrassing for her in our community, in our neighborhood. So what she felt, I was kind of bracing myself for. Oh man, this is shame on the family, because the feds came 6 a.m, busting down the door. Me and my sisters, all of us face down on the floor, all of that kind of stuff. So, and this was his first time being publicly known for going to prison. Some of my growing up, I didn't have a regular weekend where you look forward to the weekend and you didn't have to go to school and play with friends. Mine was I had to go with my grandfather to go visit my father up in prison, Lewisburg. I forgot some of the other prisons. I remember when he went to Lewisburg, some of the cats from the, what was the big stuff that went on politically that a lot of cats got locked up for? It'll come to me when I stop thinking about it, but he was locked up with those cats. So for me, when that happened and it brought all kinds of attention to our home, I'm thinking, oh, this is embarrassing because of how my mother's feeling. Not to mention my father robbed my mother's bank.
Hold on, is this a bank
anyway,
it's a bank that she worked in?
No, my mother worked at Burlington Industries in the city, Fifth Avenue, and I believe in the 50s or 60s, those streets. Her company, Burlington Industries, right at the floor of her building was the bank she banked at, which was called Irving Trust. He robbed that bank, and they knew her from her cashing her checks or whatever she did there with the bank. So anyway, he even just recently told me more of the story, which is truly hilarious. And I'm sure it wasn't funny at the time. But anyway, so I'm thinking the family's shamed and we're going to be embarrassed. But my first touch of fame in a weird way was, everybody remembers back in those days who was old enough to remember the community stores. You didn't have malls then. You had mom and pop stores, candy stores. There was no McDonald's. You got your little burgers and stuff from these little stores. So the big thing back then for me and people my age was candy, potato chips, onion and garlic potato chips, barbecue potato chips, all of that stuff. So I'll never forget one particular store that was very common and popular in the area. I went in there to, I guess, get some candy or something. And I heard the people behind the counter in the back where they did the hamburgers and stuff whispering like, yo, you know whose son that is? You know whose son that is? So they caught my attention. My father is naturally bald. He doesn't have any hair anywhere on his body. This was before Michael Jordan, any of that kind of stuff. His nickname in the streets was Skull or Scalp because he didn't have any hair. So when they were whispering like, yo, you know whose son that is? Yo, 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 yo. They said, someone was like, who? That's Little Skull. That's Scalp's son. And that day, they gave me free candy. Whatever I wanted, they gave it to me free. So I'm like, get in the paper, front paper, rob a bank, free candy? Hey, you know what I'm saying? It's a little more complex than that. But that's the thing that kind of took a certain main direction in my life in regards to trying to naively and ignorantly put two and two together, seeing what was happening on the big screen with Superfly and across 110th Street and all of that. Then my father, his lifestyle, and then that incident, among others that happened. Like we had stick-up kids in the neighborhood, and some wouldn't touch me because of my father and who my father, his affiliates and stuff was. So it was a real interesting time for an impressionable knucklehead on the come up, But I don't glorify it at all. I was very, I had so many close calls, God getting my attention. It isn't even funny. Funny now, but it wasn't funny then.